August, Thursday. I just found some of my old journals from middle school. I had the audacity to write down my arrogance and all my cringy opinions. I found this empty one and I will soon start to continue this series of journals. Whatever happens from now on will be shared with you. I just won't be as happy. Life just hasn't felt the same recently. And it might as well get worse from here. Mom has breast cancer, dad lost his job, grandma is dying. I'll keep repeating that life has not been easy, because I really mean it. Sunday. Life hasn't been so easy lately. Grandma died. She had a heart attack. I don't really know what to think besides damn, that sucks. Now who's gonna bake some fresh chocolate chip cookies? Anyways, I guess that adds one to my list of people looking down at me that I have to worry about. Another thing that I'm severely worried about is high school. Roderick told me that if I thought middle school was bad, I wouldn't stand a chance there. I don't know if I should believe him, but tomorrow's the first day, and I'm not taking any chances. Well, maybe it might not be too bad. I've been held back in middle school way too many times, and I'm ready to move on. Last week, mom told me that I was old enough. She said that at this point I needed a phone. The first thing that came to mind was the latest iPhone. Of course, I was wrong. Mom got me a Nokia. Safe. Man said he got a brick phone. The games on it sucked. I think I'm better off not bringing that thing to school. I can just lie about having a decent phone and say I don't want to bring it in case it breaks. What makes it worse is that Manny has an iPhone. When I was his age, I couldn't even do basic math. Mom says Manny deserves it because she's proud of him, but as far as I can remember, he hasn't done anything outstanding. Recently, I've been picking on him for that very reason. You dumb flip. For whatever reason, Manny hasn't been snitching on me so far. Maybe mom just isn't treating him like the 3-year-old he used to be. At least I no longer have to consider the fact that he never ages, because that's been a weird thing to imagine. Monday. Today was the first day of high school. It's pretty far from my house and I had to walk there. So instead, I went to Rowley's place. When I knocked, I wasn't met by Rowley. Turns out the Hills family bought Rowley's house and he moved to the bottom of the hill. Beside those concerns, Holly looks really different. She got her hair done and she dresses differently. It all made sense when I found out that Holly got a boyfriend. Now that every cute girl had the chance to overtaken, how will I get by high school without dating anyone? Anyways, our homeroom teacher is Miss Montgomery, and what a surprise, I got seated right next to Fregley. Let's just say he's reason one of why I hate high school. Actually, let's get into more description. He greeted me by showing me every single bit of acne on his face. The big one on my nose is called Nobert. Tuesday, I changed my mind about not having a chance with anyone. Here, over half the kids are goals. At algebra today, when my teacher left the room to get copies of the tests, I decided that now was my chance for early popularity. I walked up to her desk and snatched the answer sheet. I took them to show to the whole class, and that's when I heard it. Yee! A sharp shriek echoed around the halls. Miss Montgomery came running back in and locked the door, not even questioning what I was doing. Things escalated when I heard cop cars outside. After 20 minutes of absolute silence, my teacher said we were free to leave. I tried to find Rowley to walk home with, but he was gone. I started to worry. Did he die? I turned around and saw him in handcuffs. By instinct, I ran over to him and before he got taken away, I said, "There's something I've been wanting to tell you." I tried to get it off my chest. I couldn't stand holding back, but the cops took him away. Rowley, if you're reading this, I love you. Bruh. I didn't even know who he murdered. All I know is that he would spend 60 years in jail not knowing what I thought about him. And I'd spend the rest of my life not having someone to say that to. Wednesday, when the loudspeaker was all explained. We'd like to take a moment to mourn the loss of Holly Hills, one of our beloved students. I also got called to the main office. I was given a letter from the local prison. "Hi Greg, I killed Holly Hills. I struck her in the back with a knife." Disappointed in myself because my mom always said not to play with sharp things. I gave in because my mom would think I was irresponsible if I defended myself in court. I really want to know what you were going to tell me, so you can call the jail with your new phone when you're ready. Rowley. I cried for the millionth time that week. Now that I had the opportunity to do it, I was hesitant, but I gathered my courage. I was going to call Rowley and tell him. Albert Stanley said Rowley is a serial killer and killed a lot of famous people. I'm starting to mature. I don't think he's right because Rowley would never do that. Maybe Rowley didn't even kill Holly. Maybe I was onto something. When I got home, I called the prison and asked Rowley what really happened. He was quiet for a while, then burst into tears. Then he hung up. Thursday. I asked everyone what exactly happened on Tuesday. The responses I got were also different. Some said Riley murdered her because he got rejected. Others said it was an accident. I doubt that one is true, but Riley is pretty stupid. A few minutes in the period, I heard the door open. Standing there was Heather Hills with a gun. Everyone ran into corners. Some jumped out of the window. A girl tried to call the cops, but I guess Heather shot in her head to show that she meant business. My heart was beating out of my chest. She just showed us that she's willing to kill anyone who gets in her way. She stopped and opened her mouth, leading to a 5-minute speech about why she's there. Apparently she was getting revenge on Holly's behalf. I guess it makes sense if we murdered Holly, but that's not the case. I guess I still had lust for early popularity because what I did next was risky and absolutely stupid, but it failed successfully. Hey! She paused for a second to process what the heck Son said when she was about to start school shooting. And that was when we all ran out the door. By the time we were outside, the whole school was waiting for the cops to arrive. That's when we all looked inside the school through a window on the door and saw Heather chasing and shooting at one last person. I looked a little closer and it was Roderick. This is what we saw. Help, help, help. I guess he was right about high school being crazy. I kind of felt bad for him. To be honest, as much as I hated him, he didn't deserve that. Luckily, he escaped just in time. But when we turned around, we saw about 6 wounds on his back. When the cops arrived, they looked confused and said they didn't see any shooter. Then I woke up. Nah, just kidding. Heather was gone. The cops entered the building as we called for an ambulance. 28 dead, 102 injured. A lot of kids I know got shot in the hallways on the way out. But Roderick was dying. Friday, Roderick is dead. November, Saturday. I've been trying to cope with it for the past couple of months, and I didn't want to spend that day writing about his death instead of crying. So that's all I wrote. Then again, that's all you really needed to know. Now I'm kind of glad Riley killed Holly. If Heather was capable of that, then I wonder how Holly was truly like. Also, turns out she's lesbian. A friend of hers told me, so maybe she did reject Riley. The cops never found Heather. To this day, I wonder where she is, and if she's planning another shooting. That was until yesterday. I was watching TV at 11 PM while Dad was sleeping and Mom was getting treatment at the hospital. I changed to the news channel and this is what I saw. School shooter found dead in basement. It was live. They showed a video of the body and the basement looked oddly familiar. Was it my basement? I ran downstairs and found a crowd of cops and reporters there. They put handcuffs on me. I yelled and pleaded it was not me and I wanted to show them that. But they mistook my screaming for threats, so they put me out. Sunday, I woke up in my bed. I walked downstairs to get breakfast, thinking it was all a dream. But I stopped when I saw cops asking questions to Dad. So it all actually happened. Riley killed Holly, and now someone else I know killed Heather. There had to be a story behind all of this. I know I couldn't do anything about it, so I watched as Dad was interrogated. If he got arrested, I would soon be an orphan. Kids would make fun of me for it. So to make sure I wasn't called fatherless, I prepared to tell him everything that could prove Dad was innocent. The thing was, there was nothing to prove him innocent. I had to get this whole story. I grabbed my phone and contacted the prison. I requested to speak with Rowley. He interrupted me when I tried to ask why he killed Holly. He said his parents disowned him. Once again, I feel sort of bad for him. Not my problem, though. Then I asked the question. He said Holly told him to meet him behind the lockers. Damn, I'm jealous of him. Holly pulled out a knife and tried to stab him. He wanted to see the knife because he thought it was cool and disarmed her. She tripped, but that made him fall towards and she got stabbed. She tripped him, but that made him fall forwards and she got stabbed. So he defended himself from murder by accident. By far the coolest thing he's done. I asked him why he didn't tell the cops. His stupid ass said it was because he didn't want his mom to think he's irresponsible. I don't get the point because she disowned him anyway. The call ended. I rethought what happened last night and I realized Dad was sleeping upstairs. I was watching TV. Mom was in the hospital and Rowdy was dead. Wait, Rowdy's dead? I think Roderick's dead. But where was Manny? I ran to his room. I'm glad Heather is dead, but if Manny did it, he's the reason Dad's in trouble, so I interrogated him. Cops didn't consider him because he was too young, but he's done some violent things before. I asked him where he was. He cried. I asked him if he knew what happened. He bawled. I know Manny. He's going to keep playing the victim and acting innocent to cover up. I have a gut feeling that he plays a role in everything that happened this year, but nobody's going to believe me. From now on, I'm going to find my own evidence. Monday, at school, it was announced that the safety patrol program was available here. But for this one, we get paid. I love money, so I signed up. Since this school had no idea what happened the first time I signed up, I got accepted. I wasn't gonna screw up again. I went to the elementary school unprepared. When I met the kids, I saw Manny. I forgot that Manny should start kindergarten, and now I totally have to pay the price. Bobby! Based on how old he is, I think he knows exactly what he's doing. Luckily, these kids aren't in my school, so I don't have to worry about them teasing me. I walked them across 2 streets before Manny fell down and screamed. The other kids yelled because they thought Manny was hurt. We were near the schools, so teachers came rushing over. One kid said that I pushed Manny onto the road, which was total BS, but the others agreed. I swear, if Manny planned this all, I'm gonna kill that thing. It felt like 6th grade all over again when I got kicked from the safety patrol program. Wait, is this a reference to the first Arithmetic Kid book? I kinda enjoyed the deja vu. I can't go back in time, so the least I can do is feel some nostalgia. Things were okay back then, but I took it for granted. Anyways, I didn't get any money for the walk I did. I think I should have at least gotten $5 for the 2 streets I led them across. I guess there's a lot of scummy people in life. When I got home, Dad wasn't too happy to see me. He said Manny told him everything. I tried to explain what happened, but of course, he didn't believe me, and I was grounded for a week. That means I can't call Riley to get more info out of him. I wasn't allowed to play video games or watch TV, so I just went to the hospital to check on Mom. I had to wait for half an hour in the lobby, so I looked around for a while. I saw someone peeking through a window creepily. She looked very familiar. Heather and Holly are dead, but their little sister... I'm done with this. What the flip? I walked to the counter and asked for their phone to call 911. They seemed to think nothing was serious, but they gave it to me anyways. I called and told the cop on the phone that the sister of a school shooter was standing outside of a hospital watching weirdly. He didn't seem more convinced than the people that gave me their phone, but he said he'd send help. Meanwhile, I went to check on Mom. I don't know why, but I thought it'd be helpful to tell her not to pass away. The conversation was depressing and they say men don't cry. Well, I'm not really a man yet, but I guess you understand what I'm trying to say here. Tuesday. After school today, I snuck to the local mall. I got some money I stole from Manny's piggy bank and bought 2 security cameras to connect to the TV. When I got home, I installed one in the basement and the other in Manny's room. Whatever happens in those rooms is what I'm showing to the cops. I don't care that Manny killed the right person, but that is a prime suspect for Heather's death and will be convicted if no other suspects are found. And I wouldn't mind if Manny was gone. Damn, I'd even prefer it. Even then, it wouldn't be over. Not too long ago, I saw Helen Hills watching me out the school window. Wednesday. So much for spending $45. The camera captured nothing noteworthy. At least I know what Manny does in his free time, which is drawing pictures of gay men kissing in a World War II battlefield. What the fuck? I have some concerns about that, but you probably feel the same way, so there's no point to write them down. Speaking of that creature, Manny told Dad that I stole his money. He was not happy. I have to spend 2 weeks grounded. Great. Thursday. Maybe the camera idea was working because when I turned on the TV that night to check the cameras, I saw Manny in the basement opening some rusty box. Inside of it was a big red button with some wiring. The cables went inside of the wall, then he pressed it and ran upstairs. I went to the basement to examine it, but it didn't look like the bomb setups in the movies, so I left it alone and ran away just in case. If I told Dad, he would call over Manny. He would say I put it there, and Dad would believe it, even with security footage. I have curiosity about whether anything happened. I snuck to watch TV at night.
Woman recorded at local part.
Manny. I didn't feel safe at my house with that boy. I jumped out the window and ran to my school with some of my video games and other necessities. I climbed to the 2nd floor, opened the window, and crawled in. That's when I questioned myself. What was I doing? But it was too late to turn back. I was falling asleep in the storage room, holding a mop for protection. Thursday, I woke up in a strange room. I looked at the walls. The room was full of pictures of Holly Hills. I instantly got up and tried to find a way out. The door was locked, though I turned around and saw Helen, the youngest daughter in the Hills family. In shock, I froze while she tied me to a chair. She did a lousy job though because it wasn't even duct tape, but I waited for the right moment to escape. She pulled out a knife. I was still in shock, but I managed to get myself off the chair and kicked the door so hard it opened. I escaped. Anyway, how did I go from the school to Holly Hills' room? That's when I realized I slept at the local elementary school, not my high school. I guess I was in too much panic to think straight, so I went to Riley's house to see if his parents would let me stay for a while. I knocked, and it was too late when I realized that it was just the same house I escaped from. The Hills moved in. I ran for my life down the hill. It was clear that I still wasn't thinking straight. I found Riley's actual house and desperately rang the doorbell, Mr. Jefferson answered, but once he saw who it was, his face shriveled up and he started yelling at me for being a horrible influence and making Rowley violent. If he kept up that ignorance, I'd be screwed. And he pulled out a gun and started shooting. So nothing was wrong with specific people, but everyone in town must be drugs, right? After running back to the storage room, this time from my high school, I came across a strange package. These looked like straight up drugs. And how did I know how drugs looked? Don't question. I took a look at the back. They said they made consumers smarter and hotter. Now I wanted them. I could make some good cash selling them or even eating them. I was mature enough to stop myself. I found about 50 packages of those things scattered around the room. Kids must be using this room to circulate drugs. I checked the ingredients on the back and you wouldn't believe what it contained. It had crack. Everything else was a bunch of scientific nonsense I've never heard of. I'm starting to believe mom's rule, if you can't pronounce the ingredients then don't eat it. I went to the school computer lab and checked the time. It was nearly the beginning of school. I had to hurry up there before kids came in and saw me. So I quickly searched up irascibillions, some of the ingredients, and apparently it's a new drug type that makes you really violent. Now I think I've got my answer. So Maddie takes drugs? Not surprised. I managed to escape right before school started, and I walked right back in like nothing happened. The kids were wild today. I started to question how much the drugs have circulated. I could tell it was out of hand because teachers were watching over the storage room. It's crazy thinking about the fact that those very teachers were probably as under the influence of drugs as the kids. I should tell dad to move out, but he'll start a speech about how he lost his job and can't afford anything. I don't get it. The house isn't that expensive. If he doesn't want to move from his childhood town, he could just say that. Because when I came home and asked, he yelled at me for an hour. Luckily, he didn't get access to those drugs yet, or it would be a different story. So I'm okay with this. Taxes, pay cuts, flipping immigrants, taking our jobs. You don't have to deal with this crap. Honestly, I had no idea what he was talking about, but whatever it is, doesn't sound too serious. Saturday, we visited mom at the hospital, and she's not so well. Her cancer is worse and we can't afford more treatment. I think I know how I can get the extra money. I told dad I was going to see mom at the hospital. Instead, I went to my school. I turned the lights on in the storage room and snatched every bag of drugs. And I realized I was part of the problem. It was either going to let mom die or turn the whole school into murderers. I'm taking the risk by choosing the second option. But it doesn't guarantee myself to die, so I'm going to sell those things. Sunday, dad walked in my room today to check if it was neat, but he saw the packages. And I could tell he knew, but I think he knew what I was using them for. So he walked away without saying anything. Not going to lie, I was scared because he was holding his phone. I would have gotten a concussion. Monday, I'm kind of glad I came up with that idea because those things sold like crazy. The boys in my school were eating like 20 an hour. The teachers knew about the drug situation, so I noticed that the kids were melting the pills in microwaves and putting them into bottles and cans as if they were drinks. Honestly, I've got to admit, I appreciate the hustle. I thought I was the smartest kid here, but I'm starting to change my mind. I managed to pull at least $250 from it. At the rate we're going, I can pay for mom's cancer in a week tops. Not stopping now. When I got home, I told dad. I figured he'd already know, because he saw the bags of drugs with no reaction. He took a deep breath and said, I love her, Greg. And even for her. I thought this guy feels less emotions than me. At least he understood. I just need $1,200 more than the luck I've lacked in my entire life. Lastly, I told dad to put extra security on the house. Helen is still somewhere out there watching me. Tuesday, I'm surprised dad still wants to live here. At school, Miss Montgomery was acting a stranger. Quantum. She had these psycho outbreaks every now and then. But to be fair, her reactions to the pills weren't different from that of every other kid. The kids could be worse though, because I saw a gang bring some knives in their backpacks. A couple of kids died, but that wasn't on the news because everyone was so shocked by what else happened today. At my old middle school, a kid named Henry did this. He committed a mass hate crime towards short people. Sad that Strug died in the car accident when moving away, because there wouldn't have been footage of him actually disappearing like we used to pretend. Damn, that is so dark. Anyways, Henry's partner in crime was still to be identified. The drawing of him was recognizable. I think you could figure out who it looked like. As bad as I was, he was the only family I had left. Plus, he still had at least 500 total in his swearing jar and piggy bank. I keep my mouth shut and bail him out when caught. I'd make a bank. 400 kids died in the shooting. I guess kids are getting more and more short these days. But I still don't understand why Henry picks a short apprentice to do a hate crime towards short people. Because that's just absurd. I mean, Manny's getting taller, but he's always been shorter than average. Wednesday, The cops came to our house today, so I had to stay home. Not like I was brave enough to set foot into that madhouse. But I had to answer 1,000 questions in order to defeat the ungrateful Manny. I was shocked to find out that the cops weren't here to question Manny. They were here to question me. At first, I was confused. But when the cops showed me a video, it all made sense. $5 a pop? Ew. Rumor had it that all the security cameras in the school were fake. They must have installed new ones after the psycho outbreak, because there was a ton of footage of me drug dealing. I immediately went to the excuse I didn't know they were drugs. I guess I shouldn't be writing that I'm guilty in a journal, but it's too late to turn back. I've just got to hide from them. Anyway, they left the house. I said that I didn't know they were drugs, but they left with a bunch of notes and skeptical faces. Well, at least Dad seems to be on my side. Mom is dying, and he said that once she's better, we're moving to Boston. And the next thing you know, we were in the car with all of our things heading across Musschetts to meet Mom. Not at our new apartment, but at her new hospital. This is the most open-minded Dad has ever been. I'm glad we're moving, but I didn't expect that from him. And one downside to moving is I can't sell drugs. And if I can't sell the perfection pills, how are we gonna get the money to treat Mom's cancer? And then I realized I'm 14, the minimum working age where I live. If Dad can't get a job, I will. But I don't know if I should spend half of my day doing this just so some other people can snatch that money and use it for someone else's medical bills. Thursday, I got a job. There's a shop and dash near the apartment, and I guess they were really desperate because they hired me without an interview. But for now, I'm making minimum wage. April is at my new school, by the way. So now I know where he moved to. He's the only one I know about. So I walked up to him. He said he's been homeschooled and this is his first day here. I befriended him. Once a day, we did a prank. We switched names and pretended to be each other. It wasn't memorable, but we were proud. So I gave him a quick high five. That's what I remembered. Abel's known for leaving middle school with the most feared cuties version, the cheese touch. And he most likely had it because he's been homeschooled. All those years until today, what coincidence. The world is against me. And I guess some other kids here came from my middle school because they just started running. More deja vu for me. There were no new kids today besides me and Abe, so I had no luck. When I got home, Dad had his stuff packed. He said we were leaving now. I was so confused, but he said he wasn't taking any questions. In the car, he told me everything. He reminded me that we left Manny. Honestly, I'm disappointed that he noticed. Wouldn't have been better without him. The second reason is because the cops called him. They told him that he had to send me to be questioned again, since they found me guilty. Friday, when we arrived, the cops were in our house. Manny was standing in the middle looking angry. They told me that I made the drugs. I was confused. They only questioned me for selling them, not making them. I asked them for proof and they told me that Manny told them. So in return for bailing him out, Manny's accusing me for crimes I didn't commit. I've never wanted him dead more than I did now. You have no proof. He's lying. He assisted the school shooter. After looking at the police sketch and some footage, the cops nodded their heads. I took a deep breath. Manny was caught. But to my surprise, they took away both of us. Saturday. If you haven't figured it out already, I've been writing this whole journal from my jail cell. Riley's in the same room. He knows what I think about him, but it took a while for him to accept it. Rowley, I love you. Don't speak to me, Greg. We agreed to act like I never said it. We're friends. Yes, we're pretty chill, but it hasn't felt the same. We barely talk. He just sits on the bunk watching as I fill you in with my story. Just like how he sat there watching me play video games in the good days. We're better strangers. And about jail, I have the feeling we could be released soon. More and more people are getting arrested due to the impact, use, and circulation of the drugs. The more kids get arrested, the more filled the jail is, and they will clear up some cells eventually. But for now, I'm stuck here, not in middle school, but in prison. April, Monday. It's been a while since I've been in here. Every day just felt the same, so nothing was interesting. Today, Riley came up to me. I love you too, Greg. Riley, I'm shocked. I rethought everything. That night, I scratched off another day. April 1st has gone by. April 1st. Wait! Tuesday. I still can't believe... Massively played him. Tuesday. I still can't believe he had the nerve to play with my emotions like that. But I'm not going to get mad at him because he was the only one I could talk to. Well, at least the only one I could talk to when I'm in the cell. During lunch, yard time or rehabilitation, I get to talk to some of the other kids that got arrested. Albert Stanley was one of the ones I knew the most. I couldn't trust him after he lied about Rowley. But who else did I have? He told me stories that kept me entertained. He said that the person who made the drugs was an evil science teacher at my school who wanted this place to be shut down. I felt like I know who that might be. Mr. Bardock taught us biology and he hosted a fun activity one Friday. He passed out jars with oil or whatever with some pink gooey thing in the middle. He told us they were squirrel brains. Most boys were in awe, but me, Rowdy, and the girls were questioning where the heck he got those from. Anyways, I'm better off not listening to Albert. The things he says are only to scare people, which I finally realized. I don't want toxic friends, no matter how popular it will make me. I've matured enough to only cry every 2 days. Everyone here is so toxic. You don't belong here, kid. As mean as it sounds, they're right. Saturday, Riley and I are officially strangers. We haven't talked for the past couple of weeks. We've learned to live together physically, not mentally. June, Sunday. That's it. I'm done with this place. 2 more days here and I'm ending my own life. Riley said his first words to me in a long time. I hate this, Greg. That's when I realized we shouldn't escape. I can't stand 7 years, and neither can he, and I think I know who to ask. Avery Cassidy got here for robbing multiple stores and ATMs, so I think she should know about that kind of stuff. I asked her about the topics during lunch, and apparently this is an easy jail to escape. There's this vent in the yard, there's no water down there, and there's a ladder in the rehab area. She told us the things we needed and where we could find them. The only thing that stopped her from escaping already was the security. There's cameras everywhere, and by the time we're inside the sewage, the cops would be chasing us. At least the sewage itself isn't a problem, as I have experience with that stuff. So if we could bypass that, it's the easiest escape ever, and I'm not ignoring that opportunity. Monday. Today me, Avery, and about 15 others gathered in the yard. Well, she told me to meet her near the vent. I thought I was gonna have some advantage, but no. She said that since I'm the shortest and skinniest one there, I'm gonna be the first one to go inside for testing. I'm kinda scared, not gonna lie, but I'll do it. So if we could bypass that, it's the easiest escape ever, and I'm not ignoring the opportunity. Whoa! That was painful. At least it wasn't a belly flop. After 5 minutes of searching, I saw light from somewhere else. I ran over there and looked up. It was another vent, and I saw that it was outside of the jail. And I ran back to the vent in the yard to tell them. And guess what? Nobody was there. The vent was still closed. I was stuck in the sewer. Maybe Avery couldn't find the ladder. Maybe they got caught. Maybe I was betrayed. For the next year, I sat there with nothing to do, nobody to talk to, and no hope. Just me and my soaked up journal I brought down here. Safe. It was down here for a year, safe. You wouldn't understand how I felt. I would sell my soul to see any living thing for just 5 minutes. November is my second winter down here. Not very fun. I'm writing right now because there's 2 things I want to discuss. First of all, it's freezing. The water could give me hypothermia, so I had to try to stay on the ledge without slipping. The second one is during recess yesterday. I had a few kids above the vent talk about hearing someone down here. I'm kind of embarrassed because I've been talking to myself. That meant there were people right above me. I had the chance to escape, so I screamed. Unfortunately, that only made them so scared they ran away. Maybe I'll just die here. Nobody's helping. Mom? I completely forgotten about her. What was she doing here? But I didn't have time to think. I yelled, Mom, 500 times. She couldn't hear, I guess. I was too worn out trying to escape to yell loudly. But she was my last hope. I gathered my breath and screamed so loud that I passed out. He's my son. You wouldn't understand. That's what I woke up to. From my understanding, she got arrested and she's looking for $500,000 in return of me being treated like this. I mean, not like being trapped in the damn sewer for so long isn't bad treatment, but I'm so glad to see Mom. The question is, how did she get here? I kept on pretending to have passed out and listened more, and boy oh boy, I wish I could unhear. I invited them to keep my babies safe. I've always known this place was violent, but my husband wouldn't have moved away if it weren't for the drugs. Not to give lectures or anything, but what she did was horrible, and the audacity to say it was for my benefit when the drugs got Roderick killed because Heather shot up the school because of Holly's death, and Holly was under the influence of Mom's drugs. Also turns out she was faking the cancer to not be a suspect. She made me all sad for what? I only have Dad left. Let me guess, he's gonna die now. Sunday. Oh goodness, we are sorry to inform you. I'm done. I don't even care anymore, and this time I really mean it. But that doesn't mean it's good news.